let's get started in child's pose. In child's pose, the knees comes to the outer edges of the mat and our toes come to touch behind us, and we sit the hips back towards the heels, walk the hands forward, forehead to the floor. And maybe it feels good to roll across the forehead, releasing tension in the brow, just as we settle into our child's pose. And we'll take some breaths here in and out through the nose. And just take a moment to really arrive on your mat. Your practice is your time for yourself. And so important to just take a moment to ask yourself, why have you come today to the mat? And maybe just acknowledging or even setting an intention for your practice. Noticing the breath as it enters the lungs. And exhale as the belly becomes soft. Taking one final slow, soothing breath here. On your next inhale, you can gently lift the forehead off the floor and we'll start to walk the hands over to the right. So taking a little stretch here along the left side body and feeling the stretch all along the left side of the body. And if you want to intensify that a little bit, you can think of drawing the left hip away from the armpit and toward the floor. One more breath. And then we'll inhale and start to walk the hands over to the left. Again, feeling the stretch a little deeper by gently rolling that right hip away from the shoulder, from the armpit. We have one more breath. When you've completed your exhale, start to walk those hands back to center. And from here, we're going to come up into all fours. So hands come directly underneath the shoulders and knees will come directly underneath the hips. Spread through the entire palm, spreading through the fingers, pressing into the pads of the fingers. We'll inhale, lift the gaze. Exhale, round through the back. Tuck the tailbone, chin to chest. Inhale, collarbones lift. Exhale. Just warming up that spine. Love cat-cow for this. Exhale. And maybe starting to take some different movements in your cat-cow. So it might feel nice to do some wider hip circles, maybe bend into the elbows, but just moving in whatever way feels intuitive to you. A couple more breaths in this direction. And then whatever you've done one way, we'll do it the other way. So switching directions and going the other way. And really trying to let the breath guide the movement. So rather than moving and then breathing, we breathe first, then move. That's a good rule of thumb in yoga. Coming back to center, we will tuck the toes and just let those knees hover away from the floor. So finding a really solid position here by pressing into the pads of those fingers. We're drawing the belly in and getting so much strength through the arms. They might start to tremble a little bit, even through the core. Hovering those knees. You've got this. One more breath. On your exhale, take it up to downward facing dog. So lift the hips. Press the hips back and settling into your dog. Maybe pedaling through the feet as you warm up in the dog. One heel presses to to the mat and then the other. Maybe swinging the hips side to side before we find some stillness. So when you're ready, stillness in your dog. Really focusing on that transfer of weight being into the thumb and forefinger. And we want to gently wrap the biceps forward as we wrap the triceps back. Think of spaciousness around the neck and shoulders. We lift the hips high and feel free to keep a deep bend in the knees. Gently drawing the heels toward the floor. On your next inhale, we'll roll into high plank. So here we have a long line of energy coming all the way from the crown of the head and then shooting out the heels. So really think of pressing the backs of the thighs to the sky to get strength through the entire lower body and drawing the belly in. One more breath here. And exhale, downward facing dog. We'll do that a couple more times. So inhale into high plank. And then exhale, downward facing dog. One more time. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Great work. Let's walk the hands in about 1 hand width, so a little bit closer, shorter dog stance. We'll take the left hand and we'll reach it across and grab on to the outside of your right shin and start to look underneath that armpit. So we're gazing up towards the sky, feeling a gentle twist here. Two more breaths. Working to press the chest back towards the thighs. On your next inhale, release that, and we'll switch sides. So planting the left hand, right hand comes across to left shin, and we gently twist the chest so we can look underneath that armpit. One final breath. And on your inhale, releasing that. And exhale, press back. Downward facing dog. Look to the top of the mat, and we'll take a big step up all the way to the top of the mat. And feet are about hips width distance apart here. We'll inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold forward. Let's take ragdoll. So grabbing opposite elbows. I'm starting to warm up here. I'm going to take off a layer. So grabbing opposite elbows, and we can gently rock side to side in our ragdoll. So feeling that length through the spine, shoulders away from the ears, melting toward the floor. On your next inhale, we'll take a halfway lift. And exhale, fold forward. Gently bend the knees, sweep the hands all the way to the sky, coming up tall. Hands come to heart center, exhale. Let's have a beautiful practice. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, plant the hands, and we'll step back into your plank. Shift the weight forward and drop the knees, lower down all the way to the floor, chaturanga, elbows graze the rib cage. Coming into the tops of the feet, pressing firmly. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, we'll do that again. Forehead to the floor, inhale for cobra. Seeing if you can use the muscles in the back rather than using the hands. Exhale. Pressing through the hands, we'll come back through tabletop. Inhale, tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog. Taking a moment here, settling back into your dog. Look to the top of the mat, step all the way up. Inhale. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and we fold forward for Uttanasana. Maybe this time bringing the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and reaching the palms overhead. So we get a nice stretch through the shoulders. Maybe swaying side to side. One more breath here. Release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Bend the knees, sweep the arms to the sky. Inhale. Palms come to touch. Right away, bend the knees. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back into plank. Shift the weight forward, maybe this time lower down all the way to the floor in one straight line, chaturanga. This time, fingertips come to the outer edges of the mat for rolling cobra. Inhale and exhale. This time we'll look over right shoulder. Inhale, gaze back. Exhale, left shoulder. Exhale, hands come alongside the body. Tuck the toes, pressing all the way up into plank. Inhale, you've got this. Exhale, downward facing dog. Great work. Look to the top of the mat. Step all the way up. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Fold forward. This time we'll take the hands and we'll place the palms facing up underneath the feet. So we get a deeper forward fold here. Really thinking of length in those hamstrings. Drawing the crown of the head to the floor. One more breath. Release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and fold forward. Bend through the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms to the sky. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands and step back. Lowering down for your chaturanga. Shift the weight forward. Elbows graze the rib cage. You can take cobra, or if you prefer, flip to the tops of the feet for your upward facing dog. Hips lift away from the floor. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts to the sky. Inhale, three-legged dog. We'll start to open the hip up. So you can take the heel to the glutes and we can lift the knee up to the sky. See if you can keep those shoulders square though, so facing the top edge of your mat. Feeling nice, opening through that hip. One more breath. And we exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog back up to the sky. And we'll exhale, knee to nose, and step that foot through. Drop the back knee down. Inhale. Low lunge. Here we are. So we're in our low lunge. Hands come up to the sky. And we're sinking those hips down toward the floor, but we've still got strong engagement. So think of drawing that right hip back as you gently press the left hip forward. Belly draws in, shoulders away from the ears. Exhale, hands to the floor. Tuck the back toes and we'll lift for a simple twist. So right arm comes to the sky. Back knee is lifted. One more breath. And exhale, plant the right hand, step the back and downward facing dog. Left leg lifts this time, three-legged dog. And we'll open the hip. So shoulders remain squared with the top of the mat. We want to bring the heel to the glutes as close as we can, and then we lift the knee up to the sky. One more breath. On the exhale, start to draw the knee up to the nose. Inhale high. Exhale, knee to nose. Pause here. Think of everything getting nice and tight, and then step that foot through. Drop the back knee down. Inhale, sweep the arms high. We've got our low lunge. So right away, switching on that right glute. Left hip draws back, gently drawing the right hip forward. Arms reaching for the sky, so strong energy through those fingers. Exhale, right hand to the floor, tuck the toes, lift the back knee, and left arm opens up. We've got a simple twist here. One more breath. And reach that left arm through the floor, step back, and let's take a full vinyasa here. So lowering down chaturanga, maybe taking upward dog or cobra. Downward facing dog is where we meet. Look to the top of your mat, step all the way up. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and we fold forward. Taking a forward fold again. So maybe ragdoll, maybe we're standing on those hands. Maybe taking a bind behind the back. Opposite grip this time, so your choice. One more breath. Wherever you are. And we'll release the hands, halfway lift. Ardha Uttanasana, and we fold forward. Bend through the knees, reach to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, fold all the way down to the floor. Lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step back for your vinyasa. Knees drop down or stay lifted, cobra or upward facing dog. And we meet in downward facing dog. Right leg lifts this time. Inhale, three-legged dog. From here, we're going to cross the right leg behind the left foot. So we're in this cross position. We start to press the chest back towards the thighs. So we get a nice stretch in that left shin. One more breath here. Release that right leg. Inhale it all the way up to the sky. And then we'll take right knee to right elbow and tap it. Inhale, three-legged dog. Left to the left this time. So right knee comes to left elbow, tap. Inhale. And knee to nose. Hover it here. One more breath. And step through. Coming into high lunge. So adjust the feet before we come up. So you might want to take a wider stance between the feet. So we're on 2 train tracks with the legs. And then we'll lift the arms to the sky. Inhale. We're high on the ball of that back foot. If you want to keep a soft bend in the back knee, that's perfectly fine. That'll help protect that low back. And we're pressing into the big toe of the front foot. Inhale. Exhale. Shoulders draw away from the ears. We've got one more breath in high lunge. On the inhale, draw the arms a bit higher. Exhale, we're going to come forward for lightning bolt. So reaching the arms back this time. Inhale, sweep them high. Exhale. Inhale. One more time, exhale. From here, we'll take that right arm, we'll draw it all the way up to the sky, lift right arm, and we'll draw the left hand down the back of the leg. Inhale, sweep the left arm back up. Exhale, start to fold forward, and we'll take pyramid. So we're going to walk the back foot in a couple of inches. So find a shorter stance here for your pyramid. We'll lift the chest and then fold forward. Getting a nice deep stretch through that right hamstring. One more breath. Inhale, start to step that back foot back a couple of inches. We find, again, this runner's lunge. And then we'll plant the left hand, inhale, right arm to the sky. Back in our simple twist. From here, look down to the mat, take the left hand, bring it slightly forward of the right foot, and then we'll draw the hips down toward the floor. So we're coming onto the outer edges of both feet for Cleopatra. Reach the right arm back. Nice and strong. We'll feel a nice stretch here through that whole hip area. Inhale, plant the right hand, and we will step back for downward facing dog. Breath here, inhale. Exhale, sink the heels. Left leg lifts, inhale all the way to the sky. Then we're going to cross left leg behind the right foot, and we press the chest towards the thighs, and we'll get a nice stretch this time through the left shin. And, well, you might feel this everywhere, actually. I feel this in my shin, and I also feel it in my calf muscle, but you might also feel it through the hip, coming up the side of the leg. One more breath. On the next inhale, release that left leg sweeps high. Exhale, we'll take left knee to left elbow. Inhale. Cross it over to the right. Tap it. Inhale. We're bringing the knee to the nose. We're going to hold it here nice and strong. Really get high, lots of space, and then we'll step it through. Coming into our high lunge, so checking in with the legs first. We're on 2 train tracks, and then we gather the arms. Inhale. Coming up nice and high. This time we'll bring the palms together, and we'll reach the arms high and exhale. Start to bend the elbows as we lift the chest, lift the gaze. One more breath. Inhale, back up high. Exhale, lightning bolt. So reaching the arms back. Nice and strong. Inhale. Drawing the belly in. One more time, deep breath in. Exhale. Left arm comes forward. Reach that arm up all the way to the sky. Hand travels down the back of the right leg. Exhale. Windmill the arms to the floor. We'll take the back leg and step it in to make a shorter stance, preparing for pyramid pose. So inhale, lift the collarbones. Exhale, fold forward. Feeling a nice deep stretch through that left hamstring. Crown of the head reaches for the floor. On your next inhale, lift the gaze and we'll step the right foot back, and we're coming into runner's lunge here. So take a moment, lift the collarbones, plant the right hand, and then we'll lift left arm all the way to the sky. Simple twist, we've been here before. And look down at that right hand. Just move it a couple of inches in front of that left foot, and then we'll come into Cleopatra. So dropping the hips down, coming to the outer edges of both feet, reaching the left arm back. One more breath here. Exhale, planting the left hand, and we'll step back, downward facing dog. Look to the top of the mat, take a big step all the way to the top. Halfway lift, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, and fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms high. Exhale, fold forward. Hands to shins, lengthen the spine. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, taking your vinyasa. Exhale into downward dog. From here, we'll take the right leg all the way up to the sky, three-legged dog. And we'll come into wild thing, so coming to the outside edge of the left foot, and we'll draw the right foot and bring the toes to the floor. So we're light on the toes of the right foot, we lift the hips to the sky, get very strong on that supporting hand. So really pressing into the left hand, gripping the finger pads. One more breath. Exhale, right hand comes back to the floor. Inhale for three-legged dog. Look between the hands, step all the way up, and we'll come in to our high lunge. Inhale. Right away, exhale into our lightning bolt. Inhale. And exhale. Reach the right arm to the sky. Inhale, sweep the arm up to the sky, reaching left arm down the thigh. And then we'll inhale that arm back up high. Sink the back heel down towards the floor. So we're finding our warrior one. So we have 45 degrees in the back foot. And if you want, you can walk that right foot out a little bit wider. Hands come behind the back. Inhale. Lift the chest. Got 2 breaths here. Inhale, and then we'll fold forward. Getting lots of strength using the legs here, drawing the belly in, reaching the arms back. Inhale, release the hands, sweep the right arm to the sky. Exhale, bowling ball that arm, and then come back into your high lunge, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, left hand plants rather, and we'll step into our simple twist. One breath here. And exhale into Cleopatra. Inhale. Reach that right arm forward. Exhale into Cleopatra. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Right arm comes all the way forward. And we'll step the back foot in 45 degrees, finding pyramid. So you might need a shorter stance here. Lift the chest, lengthen the spine, and then fold forward. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Looking to the top of the mat, we'll walk the hands in front of that right foot, and then we'll lift the left leg away from the floor, finding standing splits. So not so important in standing splits to lift the leg high, but what we want to try and do is keep the leg straight and strong. So really engage that left leg. Squeeze the left glute. And as you get stronger in your standing splits, you can work on drawing the crown of the head to the sky. And we're trying to keep the hips even. One more breath here. Great work. From here, we'll look to the top of the mat and take your right hand and place it a couple of inches in front of that right foot. We'll start to open up for Ardha Chandrasana. So keep a soft bend in that standing leg, and we'll lift the left arm to the sky. Inhale, really working that right leg. Maybe the gaze is to the sky. Maybe you're keeping the gaze in the mat for balance. Wobbles are welcome. And bringing that left hand back to the floor. Standing splits, and then we'll step both feet together at the top of the mat. Sinking into your chair here, so bending through the knees. Inhale, hands come forward for Utkatasana. Drawing the belly in. So think of pelvic tilt forward as you draw the hip points up towards the lower ribs. The tailbone will draw down toward the floor. Shoulders away from the ears. You've got this. One more breath. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, and plant the hands, stepping back for your vinyasa. Lift the chest for upward dog, and downward dog is where we meet. Let's breathe together. So let the air out of the nose. Deep breath in. Open the mouth. One more time. Moving right along. Lift the left leg. Inhale, three-legged dog all the way to the sky. Open the hip, take that foot, and drop the left toes down toward the floor, taking Wild Thing. Inhale, lift the hips. One more breath here. On the exhale, come back. Left hand plants at the top of the mat. Inhale for three-legged dog. Look between the hands and step that foot all the way up, finding our high lunge. Inhale. Arms reach high. Exhale for lightning bolt. Sweep the arms high. A deep breath in. And exhale. This time left arm reaches high. Inhale. Right arm reaches down the back thigh. And exhale. Then we bowling ball that arm up to the sky. Coming into warrior one. So we slide the heel down. So the foot is now planted 45 degrees. Inhale. Hands reach behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Maybe doing the opposite grip. Inhale, lift the gaze, lift the collarbones, and exhale, we fold forward for humble warrior. 2 breaths here. And release the hands. Inhale, left arm comes high. Inhale, all the way up to the sky, reaching down the arm again. And we exhale, coming high on the ball of that back foot, back to warrior one. Exhale, plant the hand, and simple twist is where we meet here. Exhale, coming into Cleopatra. Inhale. And exhale. Coming to the outer edges of those feet. Inhale. We've got one more. Exhale. Inhale. And we'll step the back foot in 45 degrees and take a slightly shorter stance here. Inhale. Lift the collarbones and exhale for pyramid. Inhale. Shoulders away from the ears. Crown of the head reaches for the floor. Look up beyond the foot, so toward the top of the mat. Walk the hands forward a couple of inches, and we'll step off the back foot, finding our standing splits. So again, doesn't matter how high the leg goes. We're focusing on lengthening that leg, getting a stretch through the hamstring of the standing leg, and drawing the crown of the head to the sky. Aiming to keep the hips level with each other and even. One more breath here. Let's prepare to open up for Ardha Chandrasana. So walk that left hand to the outer left corner of the mat, opening up, reaching the right arm up to the sky, extending through that right leg. Choosing where to find balance. So maybe gazing up toward the sky if you've got the balance, or if you've got the wobbles like me, keep your gaze at the mat. One more breath. And exhale, coming right foot all the way back down to the mat and inhaling for chair, Utkatasana. So finding chair here, sinking the hips back. You should almost be able to lift the toes. The weight is so far back in the heels. Hip points and lower ribs draw together. Tailbone is tucked. Shoulders away from the ears. You've got this. One more breath. Sink a bit lower. And exhale, fold forward. Well done. Halfway lift, hands come to shins, and deep breath, fold forward. Walk the hands out, or feet out rather, and we'll bring the heels in, toes out for malasana. So sitting up nice and tall, lengthen the spine, crown of the head reaches to the sky. We take the elbows and bring them in to the insides of the thighs, so inner thighs just below the knees. And we use the opposing actions of knees pressing into elbows, elbows pressing into knees to really lift the collarbones. Get a nice stretch through the hips. Maybe closing down the eyes. One more breath. If your eyes are closed down, blink them open, plant the hands, step back, taking a vinyasa here. And we will all meet in our downward facing dog. Inhale through the nose, exhale at the mouth. One more time, deep breath in. Right leg lifts, inhale. Look to the top of the mat. Bring that knee all the way over to the right wrist. And then we'll slide the shin forward and sink the back leg down. We're coming into our pigeon. So starting to slow it down a little bit. Let's inhale the chest and fold forward. Inhale. So we're rolling through the spine. Hi, B. A couple of times here. Inhale. Exhale. One more time. Exhale, walk the hands out, forehead to the floor if you like, or you can take a block, place it under the forehead, or option to just stay here. Wherever you can go, that's perfectly fine. So using this time here to return to your natural breath. In these sort of deeper, longer stretches, things can get a little bit of intense. So don't feel the need to go deeply straight away. You can always start a little more shallow, and then as the breath deepens and lengthens, we can go deeper into that stretch. And if at any point you feel discomfort, just back off. If you're finding the breath is catching in the throat, or the quality of the breath is changing, then we're going too deep, so please back off. Stay here for 2 more breaths. When you've completed that exhale, walk the hands back, tuck the left toes, and right leg comes high. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left leg lifts this time, inhale. Looking to the left wrist, let's bring the knee across, slide the shin forward, and then back leg sinks down, hips sink down to the floor. And let's start taking some rolls through the spine. Exhale, and we inhale. 2 more. When you're ready, hands walk out. Maybe coming to the elbows. Maybe placing a block under the forehead. Here we can notice any tension as well. So where does the tension creep in when we feel a little bit of discomfort? So maybe the jaw is clenched, so give that a few gentle movements to release it. Checking in if the brow is furrowed, maybe gently rolling across the brow a few times. Checking in with those shoulders, letting them sink away from the ears. Let's take our final 2 breaths. And when you've completed your exhale, let's walk the hands back. Tuck the right toes, left leg to the sky. Inhale, and downward facing dog is where we meet. We'll come all the way down, untuck the toes, and we'll find a seat. So from here, we will bring the legs out long in front of us. So flexing through the feet and just taking some of that flesh away from the sits bones so you can really find those bones. Drawing the belly in, sitting up nice and tall, staying here for a moment, feeling that engagement. So even sitting like this is work, isn't it? Drawing the belly in, lift the chest. Let's sweep the arms high. And then we'll fold forward. Now there's no need to grab the feet and pull yourself into this pose. We want to let the heart melt down towards the thighs. Feeling a stretch through the backs of the legs. Letting that stillness start to envelop the body. Just noticing after so much movement and breath, what does it feel like in this state of release, of quiet? One more breath here. And we'll gently start to walk the hands back, turning so that you're parallel with the long edge of your mat, sitting up nice and tall, drawing the hands out in front of us, and we'll start to roll the spine all the way down toward the floor, one vertebrae at a time, going nice and slow until you are fully flat on your back. Take a moment here, and we'll bend the knees, feet come flat to the floor. We'll take bridge pose here. So reaching the hands forward, see if you can graze the backs of your ankles with your fingertips, planting the feet firmly into the floor. We'll start to lift the hips. Inhale, sweeping the arms high. Exhale all the way down to the floor. Letting the breath guide the movement. Inhale, arms sweep high. Exhale. One more time. Inhale. We'll pause here at the top of the movement, and if you like, you can take the hands behind the back. So interlacing the hands and pressing the arms into the floor as we lift the hips. Think of holding a block between the knees. You're drawing the knees together. Strong engagement through the thighs, the quads, the hamstrings, the glutes. You've got one more breath here. And then release the hands. Let's take the feet to the outer edges of the mat, and we'll just windscreen wiper the knees side to side. And when you're ready, we'll drop the knees off to the right. So just let the knees drop off to the right. And the arms can come in to a cactus shape or a T shape, whatever you prefer. And maybe gazing over the left shoulder. If you want more, you can take the right foot and place it on top of the left knee, and you'll feel a deeper stretch through the front of that hip. Got one more here. Sometimes when I get to this place, I just want to stay in these stretches forever. Let's come back to center. So releasing the foot if it's been on top of the left knee, and then we'll come back to center. Knees drop over to the left this time. And maybe turning the head towards the right shoulder, maybe placing left foot on top of right thigh. few more breaths. And slowly coming back to center. And we'll release that. Take the knees in. Give the body a nice hug. So knees into the chest. Give yourself a beautiful hug. Well done. Release that. We'll take happy baby. So hands come to the outer edges of the feet. And open the knees to the sides. So we start to draw the tailbone down toward the mat. And the knees come wide. And again, to this opposing action of hands on the soles of the feet. Press into the hands as the soles of the feet press back. Maybe we lengthen one leg and then another leg. Maybe you're rocking your baby. Maybe full extension of both legs, whatever feels good. And release that. When you're ready, coming into your shavasana, I will leave you here. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you have a marvelous day. Hands come to heart center. Namaste.